Episode 114 this week, Ensigns of Command. In this one, we start off with a concert being performed in 10 forward. Data's playing the violin, but he goes up to Captain Picard and Dr. Crusher tells him they won't enjoy the performance because his bandmates say that he lacks soul. So they explain to him that he's being too honest and not giving himself a chance to do a good performance that they might enjoy before he gives up on it. Right when they get started, Picard gets a call that the Shelley Active sent a communique, so he leaves while Data looks on, a little disheartened that Picard left right when they were starting up. And then Picard gets to the bridge and they tell him the Shelley Active communicated for the first time in 111 years. The Shellyak say that under their treaty, they have decided to make a community on the Celia 5 was the planet, and there were humans there, so they wanted the humans gone. Picard's for words because that planet has beta-uran radiation, and beta-uran radiation is lethal to humans. So Dr. Crusher says, well, maybe they found a way to adapt. So they go to the planet, and Picard sends Data down in a shuttle to start evacuating, thinking there will be a handful of people down there at the most. Data gets there, and these two guys come up to the shuttle. They're looking like, well, the Federation has come to check on us after 90 years. And Data walks up, and they're like, oh, you must have come to check on us and you'll be so proud of all our accomplishments. And Data's like, no, I'm here to evacuate you. So they go to see this leader named Goshavan. And Goshavan, he's not evacuating anybody. He doesn't believe Data. He's like, I never saw a Shellyak in all my life, and my grandfather's buried on that mountain. And he just keeps going back to that. Data's at a loss, thinking these people are going to be executed at the hands of the Shellyak if they don't get out of there. Oh, meanwhile, Picard, when he finds out how many people are down there, decides he better talk to the Shellyak. So he tries to buy time. The Shellyak hang up on him. So he decides he better head over to the community ship. At Data, he meets this woman named Adriana, and Adriana fascinated by Data because she's never seen an android, and she wanted to study him. She's apparently like a computer expert, which is weird because they had no androids on this planet because they were all descendants of the people that survived over 90 years earlier. So they didn't have those things. But she's fully aware of all his specific parts and what makes him tick for some reason. But Data tries a couple of more tacks to convince the people of this planet to evacuate. They aren't working. Riker tells him he's got to get some ingenuity going and find a way to get these people off that planet because he's not there. He can't help because he doesn't know these people. Data goes to find a new tack, and Picard gets to the Shellyak ship. He and Troy beam over there to discuss the problem. They found a loophole in the treaty that grants him a face-to-face. The Shellyak's like, you have 3 days, that's it, goodbye, and they beam him back to the Enterprise. Well, Picard's getting a little perturbed, so he heads back to that planet to try to have a standoff with the Shellyak as best he can, knowing they'll obliterate all the settlers down there because Starfleet can't get a community ship to them in time. It'll take 3 weeks just to get the ship there. Then it'll take a couple more days to evacuate everyone. So he's way past the 3 days. Then on the planet, Data and Ariana, they get these handful of people together to discuss the situation. They start to agree with Data a little bit, but then Goshavan comes in, hits Data with a cattle prod, turns him off. He's like, oh, that's the end of that, and walks away. Data either wakes up on his own or Arion helps him. It was unclear which. But then he decides, hey, maybe if I use a phaser and blow up the town square, they'll listen to me. So he jerry rigs a phaser to work using his own circuitry. Ariana had never seen a phaser before. She knew what an android and a positronic brain was, but not a phaser for some reason. It was very odd. But Data gets to the town square, stuns a bunch of people, blows up their viaduct, and Goshavan's like, but my grandfather's buried on the mountain. And Data's like, yeah, but they'll obliterate you from orbit and you'll never even see anybody. You'll just be gone. So then they decide, okay, we'll evacuate. So Data solves the problem, goes back to the Enterprise. But before he gets there, Picard had one last chat with the Shellyak. He's reading over the treaty on the computer. He's like, aha, I got him now. He invokes the right to have a third-party arbitrator, and he picked a species that was in a hibernation cycle for 6 more months. So the Shellyak grant him the time that it takes to get the community ship there to evacuate the people. And Picard's like, okay, thanks. And Data goes back, and Picard's listening to the recording of the concert. Data's like, yeah, my violin wasn't very good. Picard's like, no, you combined the styles of 2 violinists and made it a unique style all of your own. So give yourself credit for that. So Data's like, oh, okay. And that was basically the episode. It was an episode. Some interesting parts in this one. Goshavan's actor apparently did something. They redubbed the part. They left the actor in, but redubbed his part. Sometimes the vocals didn't match the mouth movements there, so you can sort of tell something happened. And also the shuttlecraft Data used, the Okinawa, was named after one of the people that perished in the Challenger space shuttle disaster. Well, they put a nod to that in to the episode. And the title, Ensigns of Command, actually a reference to a poem. So it wasn't necessarily referring to a specific ensign or anything. It was more just a reference out of a poem they thought would make a good title to the episode. Pretty much all the characters in this one were present except for Guinan. So all the main characters, even though most of them were limited, got some. There was like a little C plot where O'Brien and LaForge were ordered to make the transporters work even through the radiation, which was impossible. Picard said, I don't want to hear impossible. So Geordi and O'Brien kept trying and failing, and Riker and Picard had popped their head in and say, how's it going? They're pretty much like you'd expect. They're like, great, keep at it. And they have like this big hunk of twisted metal on the transporter from the radiation affecting it. That went on through the whole episode, but I was primarily a way to get O'Brien and Wesley Crusher and LaForge into the episode. It was an unnecessary plot point, but it was there. And that's pretty much 114.